Jewish people. Now, by the way, they were, that was the 60s, right? Hippies, okay? You know where they are now? In the land. You know what they're doing in the land? They're the pastors. Okay, those hippies that got saved in 67, the same year that we regained control over Jerusalem again, are the ones that are pastoring the sheep, the small sheep flock that we have in Israel. One more thing we can see here, and we read in the verse 35, that the nations around, when they will see all that is happening, they will say, in verse 36, then the nations which are left all around you shall know that I, the Lord, they know the Lord. Remember he said at the beginning, I'm doing it for the nations in a weird way for me. What do you mean? Yes, he's saying I'm doing it for the nations. When he's doing that for Israel, other nations come to believe in the God of Israel because they see, whoa, this is what he said. He promised it. Never happened before. This is amazing. This is a miracle. The Bible must be true. I believe in God. I believe in his name. I believe, when this is a miracle. And maybe even some of you, I don't know, came to faith or grew in your faith because you saw that miracle of the land, just like it says here. You see, this promise is talking to Israel, but at the same time, it's thinking about the nations, just like in Isaiah 49. Yes, I want to save Israel for sure. Not just that, it's too small a thing. I want to save all the nations, to be my salvation to the ends of the earth. So through that fulfillment of the land, but also fulfillment of Jewish people coming to faith, we know from Romans. I didn't write that verse, but you know that verse, that if the fact that we rejected was such a blessing, what will their acceptance be but life from the dead? So, whoa! It will be such a testimony when Jewish people come to faith. Just like the miracle of the land. The other side of this one promise really is the salvation of Jewish people. When other nations will see Jewish people believe in Jesus, they will say, wow, this is what, it says here that God will use it as an amazing tool to bring all the nations, to bring people from all the nations to believe in the God of Israel. Okay, now, we're getting closer to the end of the verses here, but this is wonderful. Please have a look. Verse 37. See what it says here. Thus says the Lord God, I will also let the house of Israel inquire of me to do this for them. I will increase their men like a flock. Like a flock, listen, like a flock offered as holy sacrifices. I think you have to hear it again. I will increase their men like a flock offered as holy sacrifices. They will increase the numbers among the Jewish people, a flock that will be like offered as holy sacrifices. They will become like holy sacrifices. That's what I'm just reading, okay? And then it says, oh, this is beautiful. Like the flock at Jerusalem on its feast days. Wow, what's that? And then it says, so shall the ruined cities be filled with flock of men, then they shall know that I am the Lord. Just like I said before, when Jewish people, the flock, that would be like holy sacrifices, when we'll have more and more of this, when God will increase their flock. Right now it's a small flock, 10,000 or so. When God will increase their flock, and now he said that, and now he's jumping here, and he's saying about this other part, so shall the ruined cities be filled. So the ruined cities, now he's talking about the cities, again it's the land, again. But it's the land, but also the people. God will increase the number, and there will be like holy sacrifices. Then they shall know that I am the Lord. Now, when it says here, then they shall know that I am the Lord, I'm not sure. I'll just throw out the question. Who exactly does he mean? Maybe you can help me with that. Is he still talking about the nations? Possibly. Because he said that he's doing that, he's in the context of the nations here. They will know. It says, just the verse before they say, they will know. Verse 36, then the nations which are left all around you know that I, the Lord. Okay, no. So it's still God is after the souls of the nations. When the Jewish people will come to faith, and the flock will grow, will be his holy sacrifice, then they shall know that I am the Lord. I think it's both. Obviously, the one that is saved and the holy flock, they will know that God is the Lord because they're saved. Just like in the new covenant that we read in Jeremiah 31, and I will be their God, and they shall be my people, talking about the people of Israel. But here I think it's both. It's the one you meant. Here it's then they shall know. It's the nations, it's Israel. This is the Isaiah 49 fulfilled. Israel and to the ends of the earth. Everything together. Wow! So, I'm reading about holy flock, and before we read about God is angry about the shepherds, they don't do a good job, and that's why he will send the shepherd. So obviously we know who is the shepherd, right? The shepherd is Yeshua. But listen to this. John chapter 10, verse 3. It says, when he says that I am the good shepherd, he says, the sheep hear his voice, and he calls his own sheep by name. He calls his own sheep by name and leads them out. Then he has brought out all of his own. Then when he has brought out all of his own, he goes before them, and the sheep follow him. So he calls the sheep by name, and the sheep follow him, for they know his voice. One more verse that comes to mind is Romans 12, chapter 1, Romans 12, verse 1. When Paul is saying, just after speaking 3 chapters about God's plan of salvation, using the nations to provoke the Jews to jealousy, so all Israel will be saved. Talking about this whole salvation plan. The Jews, the nations, they have the nations bring the gospel back to the Jews. The next verse, Romans chapter 12, I appeal to you, therefore, brothers, by the mercies of God, to present your bodies as a living sacrifice, holy and acceptable to God. So God is calling us to present our bodies as a holy sacrifice, living sacrifice, holy and acceptable to God. Just like we read in Ezekiel 36, and he talked about the flock offered as a holy sacrifice. That's the same thing here. That's the same thing. So we come to the end of the chapter. And I hope that you see what I see, that this promise is twofold. It's the land, but not just the land. It's in the same promise that will happen in one day, because it's